Hi, I'm Allison Ledbetter. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Awakening Soul Truth. Today, Robbie Short and I discuss the process of awakening on the planet and in humanity, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We greatly appreciate all your views, likes, and shares. But most importantly, we would love to hear comments. Comments inspire all of us to grow and support each other during this process. We are evolving consciously because of this physical change.
If you think about how energy holds consciousness itself, which is something we've already been discussing, the Schumann resonance of the earth, or the heartbeat of the earth, is steadily increasing. It normally measured between 7 and 8, and since 2020, I believe, it's just fluctuating and continuing to rise. So if the energy of the planet is shifting, that means the energy within us is shifting, which means we're all evolving together.
Yes, we are. And we started this channel to actually be a support system for this process. And although you may not believe that we're in the process of awakening and becoming conscious, really look at what is happening for you. Are you being challenged with some ideas or concepts that no longer serve you? Are you becoming more aware of the fact that there's a lot of questioning of values and a lot of loss of values and morals? People, everyone I know, has started to really look at themselves and question, where's my truth? What is true? Mm-hmm. And we are observing something that I call the veil, which has kept humanity kind of in a locked, stuck, pretty negative place where lies and greed, false beliefs have been prominent, and the energy all around the earth. This veil, some people call it the dark matrix, is collapsing. And in the process of it collapsing, we're beginning to see and notice massive amounts of corruption and lies, and starting to take personal responsibility for ownership.
With all of that, there's so much chaos and confusion. But the way I like to tell my students when this kind of dishevelment is happening is to just think about a simple task like cleaning out your garage or cleaning out the junk drawer in one of your rooms in your home. You have to create a mess, and you have to get everything laid out in order for you to determine what needs to go, what can be salvaged, what do you need, and be able to clean it up and get it organized. And that's what we're going through right now. The planet's going through it, and humanity is going through it.
Our consciousness is really examining what we're going to keep and what we're going to let go of.
Yep. And examining our values.
Yes.
And it's, it's not about the title you wear. It's not about how much money is in your bank account or any of the material goods that you possess.
Yes, we're saying your value is not based on anything outside of yourself. Your value is actually based on the integrity you have with your own connection to your divine essence. And personal integrity is the kind of the guiding force that can help lead us into healing ourselves and becoming honest with ourselves. When I say integrity, it's saying give up what's in the veil, what's outside of you, as your source of validation, your source of this is what makes me feel good. Notice that those things are primarily temporary and fleeting. They're not sustainable. And our consciousness is rising, and we're becoming closer to ourselves, finding sustainable love, like commitment, like loyalty, but with ourselves. These are aspects that I think are divine in and of itself. So we are aligning with aspects that the divine already holds. So that may be a completely new definition of the divine, or a definition of God that you haven't heard of. God as all loving, God as, all seeing, God as holding that space for you as divine.
That is big and beautiful. We were going to talk about how we come back into our power. And I think it goes back to what you just said, because when we are aligned to our values, when we are aligned to integrity, because integrity basically is acting from the place of your values. Is it lining up? Is it true to who you are and your character?
And the values inside, meaning they have to be internal.
Absolutely. So when we're aligned to our true self, we're aligned to our true value, when we're aligned to that expression of divinity, of who we are, then we are in our power. And so again, the power doesn't have to be money related or status related.
It's
all about heart and soul.
It is about heart and soul. The heart has more electromagnetic waves than the brain does. So it's in the thousands, and the brain is less than 1,000. So we're here to kind of be honest with you about how we've gone through our own process of awakening and stood, oh my gosh, through so much loss of what people would say is value. We've both lost friends because we've evolved and shifted, and then we found each other, which has been the best. But as you shift, your physical world's going to shift, and things that are not aligned with love will shed. And that's the awakening process. That's how you become conscious.
You can look at the past and the losses that I've had really as gains.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the people that fell away were not aligned to integrity.
Yeah. And when we really talk about money was obtained or checked in with our value system and made sure that there wasn't a place of gaining money that brought harm to anybody. So integrity means that it's loving and supportive for you and for everybody involved. So it's that win-win concept. It's the alignment with love on every front. And you cannot have exception to that. You can't have, well, we destroyed this part of the planet, but we had a lot of profit, and here we are sitting happy and everything's going well. And we have tons of money and I can do whatever I want. That's not sitting in integrity. And that is actually what we're really being faced with as a culture right now.
So many changes that we have experienced over the last just 2 years, and there's more to come. So, I've been following astrology a lot, and they say 2022 to 2024 is the collapse, and 2024 to 2026 is the rebuilding. So it's important for us to share this message because we have been in positions where we've lost finances. We have been in a position where we've lost businesses. We've been in a position where we've lost, friendships when we've evolved to another level. So we want to help to kind of show the way, because a lot of people have never experienced the loss in their lives.
And again, you said it perfectly. Even though it appeared to be lost, we gained so much wisdom, integrity, and internal power, authenticity. And I believe that we've gone through so much so we can help others.
Sometimes suffering and losses can actually bring us closer to the divine. You need a little bit of that friction. You need a little bit of that heartache in order to bridge the gap, so to speak.
To become really clear. Sometimes when you do have heartache, that you go the opposite direction. That you go into feeding off of pain and fear, and you step into addiction, and you can go the other way easily. We're kind of in this choice. A lot of people right now have been choosing, unfortunately, to double down on Addiction rose during COVID. There's been tremendous amount increase in suicide, and this is heartbreaking. And there's been increase in fear all around. I mean, you can't listen to the news with it out without it telling you the worst things ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, even if you just look at the media, or even Yahoo News, when you're just going onto your email, it's just clickbait headlines just to get you to get sucked into the article, and it's really more opinionated than factual.
Absolutely.
I remember during COVID watching the news, and this was in the beginning stages in the first few months, where everybody was trying to figure out what is going on, and we were all held in our homes at that point, and we were watching the news, and it was all the chaos about COVID, and then the next commercial was St. Jude's Hospital and how that pulls at your heartstrings. And then it went back into the COVID narrative. And then it went into dogs being abused was the next commercial. I mean, it was going from fear to sadness to fear to pulling at your heartstrings and abuse. There was nothing positive coming from the screen.
Right. And the question is, why have we allowed so much negativity into our culture? Why are we allowing the constant feeding of negativity?
And there's good people and there's good deeds happening all the time.
But overall, lately, I have felt very overwhelmed by some pretty serious negativity. And that's getting back to saying we believe there's a veil, that it is pulling us outside of ourselves. It wants you to be distracted. It wants your power to be separated from yourself and lost. And we are lost. And our children are getting really lost with the constant feeding of short clips and short pieces of information with scrolling nonstop, 24/7.
The attention span
has decreased.
Of humanity has severely decreased.
But what great harm. There is a place for that information and the internet. But it is harming them. It's harming their eyesight. Let's just start there. It's harming their eyesight. Just the way years ago when video games and people refused to listen to the statistics that said self-love decreases, violence increases, the more you expose your brain to violent video games. That's a real thing. How could it not be?
There's also a lot of statistics coming out about social media and how it's causing a lot more depression among people because people will only post typically things that,
are happy,
or, they learn the perfect angle for, how they're going to look the best. And they've probably taken 1,000 pictures before they pick the one that they're going to post. And it's been very detrimental, especially to pre-teen and teenage girls.
Yeah. Have you heard the Victoria's Secret song?
No.
Oh my God, it's
hilarious. You told me about it one day, but I haven't heard it.
It's hilarious. It's about a girl who's saying, I wish I'd known Victoria's Secret. It's a white man in Ohio making money off of girls like me who have self-image issues. It's a fabulous song because she's saying, I will not be a part of feeding into your version of what beauty's supposed to look like. Mm-hmm. And we've seen an enormous revolution of images of women becoming real, for the whole range, from super skinny to, a little more
voluptuous.
Yes. It's just been wonderful to watch.
And it's been great to see women, accept their gray hairs over COVID and
to step more into authentic self. This is who I am. This is what I look like. This is what my body's doing.
There are definite blessings that have come from this pandemic that we had because we did get a chance to slow our lives down and to pull back our schedules, and you're peeling back the layers. You have time with yourself and to yourself. Yeah. So you start to discover, am I really happy in this career? A lot of people did change their careers, or a lot of women did decide to stop work so they could homeschool their children. There's been so many different awakenings and changes that have come about. You know, we talk about evolving and we talk about changing, but sometimes that change and evolution is actually the undoing. It's the peeling back. In yoga, we talk about peeling back the layers. And sometimes it's the undoing or the unbecoming to really become who you're meant to be. In other words, when you're peeling back the layers, you're doing that self-reflective and self-introspective work to see, how have I been programmed? How have I been conditioned through society, with religion, through politics, with social media, through peer systems? And am I in alignment with that? Is that my truth? And that's what's so beautiful about awakening your soul's truth, because everyone is a unique expression of the divine, which means the truth will vary from person to person.
Yeah. And you feel incredible when you align with your truth. Like, I became a medium. And it wasn't something I really wanted to do because there was nothing in society. There was no friends and no family except for my godmom supporting me during this transition. I lost everyone. And that's what we were talking about before. I lost everyone. And I am so happy I did. And it's hard sometimes today. I'm a medium. That was my soul's truth.
Yeah, how does that go at the school council meeting?
Right? So I can
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm a medium.
I can say it really gently now. Not everybody needs that introduction.
Yeah.
Because being a psychic, you can also feel people's reactions to you and their kind of panic. And I just have to say things gently. I don't need to reveal all of who I am in the first meeting. So I would just simply say, I help people awaken their hearts.
So when you align to who you really are and to your integrity and to what you're passionate about, what you're feeling called to do, what we're saying is it's not always easy, but it's worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I took a leap of faith and quit the airlines. That, you know, I had been with the airlines for 12 years. I was at a seniority where I was actually making good money. Yeah. I had health insurance. You know, I could start picking the trips that I wanted to take versus just taking whatever was left over. You know, there were a lot of things that I was benefiting from with that career, but my heart said, no, I needed to teach yoga. That was my saving grace. That's what was fulfilling me. That's what I was developing a passion for. There's not a lot of money in teaching yoga. You're really doing it from the love of your heart, and you're doing it out of service for humanity, and it makes you feel good, and you're seeing how it makes other people feel good. And to me, that was enough. I didn't need society's standard of you need this, this, and this in order to be a success.
Valued,
or seen or heard sometimes.
But you felt great value.
Yes.
You deeply resonated with that.
Yes.
And so it's almost like the outside needs fall away with ease. It's weird. It gets replaced. And there is a security that happens internally that everything will be taken care of.
Yeah, I use a mantra constantly. Trust and surrender, trust and surrender, trust and surrender. It's the spiritual lesson of the second chakra is to let go and to let God.
Yeah.
To let go and, you know, be in the flow and be able to adapt to changes and be accepting of, you know, the way the cards are falling for you. And it wasn't easy for me to take on a yoga studio in a new community that I didn't even have a history with. I literally moved to Franklin and took over a studio that was barely operating. And
as a single mom,
I was actually getting divorced when it was happening. And I wasn't the divorcee who got funded. from
Right.
because my husband didn't have any money. He was a struggling musician, so I didn't get alimony. I didn't get child support. Like, it was very much on me to do this, and I just had to trust and surrender. And it worked out. I mean, for the first year of owning a business, I didn't even have a computer because the computer went with my ex-husband through the divorce. And I was going to the library. I was making it work. I was just using the free library that was accessible, and I was able to keep that business going. But when you are aligned and when you take that leap of faith and when you trust and surrender, it's amazing how the universe will show up for you. And it's amazing how earth angels will show up for you. People will just show up at the right time, in the right place, and be willing to help you.
And it's so true. The universe has got you.
You've been one of those for me, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you've been that for me also. Truly. So amazing to let go of external motivation such as money and to find your true value and to feel it. And there's nothing like it. It doesn't mean it was always easy to watch those things go. There's definitely been tears. There's definitely been ego moments, right? Of like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm aligning with something amazing and everything keeps falling apart. And we think that's what we're all beginning to be faced with. We're starting to align consciously with a higher value, and a lot of systems on the earth right now, systems in humanity, aren't high vibrational systems. They only serve a few people. They are based on money and profit, and they are not aligned with the integrity of the earth, with the integrity of equality for everyone. And it is a letting go. And I promise you with all of my being, there is a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow.
I feel that with all of my being.
Yeah.
No matter what earth changes occur, no matter how many natural disasters we experience, no matter if the pole shifts, no matter if you lose in the stock market, you're okay if you drop inside.
You are. And those things are collapsing. I mean, the stock market is collapsing right now. It has been for the last month.
Oh, it will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
And that, to me, I mean, let's talk about that. A lot of that is based on companies that take profits for a separate group of people and not the people in the company. I believe if you really looked at the economics of a spiritually based company, you would have all the profits to the people who build it, who are
and
part of...
some companies do that.
Yeah, like Red Mill.
But
Red Mill's one of them.
Southwest used to be an
One
airline that did that. Mm-hmm.
I think, though, that is awesome integrity. That is supporting
the people who are backing you up.
Creating it. Right? All the profits should not be going to a limited few people. It makes no sense. That's not how the divine works. In no way or shape or form is the divine saying, well, I'm only going to listen to this part of your story and validate only this part of you because you're not important like the CEO.
Which is ridiculous.
Who, by the way, most CEOs can be identified as sociopaths. They do not relate to their feelings. That's an overgeneralization. But there is a large portion of them that don't feel and are not connected to this inner divine system. They don't give a fuck.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of them are just disconnected.
Disconnected. Better way. You always put that better. I'm going to edit that last word out. We're here to help you align with your integrity as false systems that aren't aligned with a higher vibration, a higher consciousness, with the divine itself, because our planet is actually evolving into a higher consciousness. We're watching those systems reveal the truth that they are, and they're beginning to collapse. Run for the hills! No.
That's funny you say that, because my son's actually going to Iron Maiden tonight.
Oh, yeah?
And I told him, you got to send me the copy of Run to the Hills. We're going to be putting this out in October of 2022. And the rest of the year is said astrologically to get a little messier.
Absolutely. It's supposed to get messier. The alignment of the planets has an effect on humanity and our thinking and how we process psychologically. It has everything to do with our energy and our consciousness. Pamela Gregory, my favorite astrologer.
Molly McCord
Nice.
is my current favorite. I switch them up.
So those are two wonderful references if you want to start listening to maybe the physical side of how it's impacting our consciousness. When we're examining how our consciousness is shifting physically in a human body, it is moving from the first and second chakra being not less than, but maybe more concerned with just physical needs and things outside of ourselves being stable, to we're rising into the third chakra, which is the solar plexus. And this is the I am chakra. And this is where we do find personal power and integrity. This is the I am. And we need to use our heart as a guiding post to make this shift from first and second chakra. I do a lot of really deep healing work on people. And I have seen thousands of clients over the last 17 years of my life. And I'm actually have been able to observe a stuck physical representation almost of a box or a lower vibration that I find in the lower two chakras. And I've started dissolving it.
Do you think it's something put there to keep us from evolving and moving up the ladder, so to speak? This is the way I talk about chakras, because when energy is moving upstream, it's spiritual liberation, moving more towards the spiritual centers.
Yeah.
And when it's moving downstream, it's more about the physical plane of existence or manifestations.
Yeah, I absolutely believe
So
that. I feel like it's been in there to keep us stuck. And part of me feels like the veil is been designed purposefully.
So interesting. My mind's going different directions now with that.
What's interesting is the ability to dissolve it almost immediately, to state to it, this cannot be here. And it literally fizzles out.
Should we say that to ourselves right now? Would that be helpful?
I am releasing any mechanism that stops me from evolving from my body.
I am removing any mechanism that stops me
from evolving
to
my higher consciousness.
Okay. I'm being reminded of a great book if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the chakras. There's one called Anatomy of the Spirit. And in the book, when she is at the heart center, she's talking about the rate of divorce being so high. Right now, it's like 50%. And her take on it was that we are evolving in our consciousness as human beings. Because in the past, if someone was unhappy in a marriage or, being abused in a marriage, couldn't leave a marriage, think about, kind of the religious take on it and taking the vow. And, a lot of religions don't allow for divorce. I grew up in one of those. Divorce was not allowed. So it keeps you stuck in those lower fields. And her point was, as consciousness evolves and as people really tap into their true self at their heart, then they can make that decision for their own. Now, think about the energy center it has to pass through before it gets to the heart. The power center.
I am.
So when you connect to the spirit and you realize and have that recognition of, I need to move past this relationship in order to be empowered again or to be aligned to who I really am again, you're having to pass through that center of power.
And the Chinese medicine will tell you that we store anger in this part of our body.
The liver, gallbladder.
When you don't listen to your truth, when you don't listen to your power, you have disease in the liver. When I touch this part of the body, sometimes I feel enormous amounts of unexpressed rage, because it's gone to rage, because it's unexpressed. Enormous amounts of anger coming through because you haven't listened to the part of you that's separated out and needs love. You have truth. We all have a spectacular truth inside of us. It's magnificent, and you will feel so happy aligning with it. We welcome you to step into your power. All right, let's prepare for meditation. And just take a moment and close your eyes, allowing yourself to connect to the rhythm of your breath. Just noticing how it feels, the simple in and out. And slowly bring your consciousness down and notice how you're supported by the chair or the ground, feeling all those places of contact and grounding to Mother Earth, connecting. Now we'll take our consciousness and our breath into our solar plexus, right above your belly button. I am releasing limiting beliefs and stories that keep me small. I am releasing anything that stops me from expressing my authentic truth. I am accepting God's version of me. I am accepting the divine's version of me. Loved. And I am aligned with my authentic self, standing in my power. I am. And I am releasing all limiting, small, negative beliefs about myself, just dissolving them. I am listening to my truth. I am listening to my authentic self, and I am standing in my power. the love of the universe is supporting me.